My full name is Eugene Madison Sowell, and I'm 94 years old. I was a member of the Carmel Methodist Church. That's where I was raised up at.
I can remember when we attended Carmel Memorial, and I remember leaving what friends we had there to come out here and kind of starting all over. But it was exciting because it was going to be a brand new church.
I got married and we moved over on Small House Road. When we first started in the church, I had 3 boys. They went to Sunday school. So did I. We built the house, and just a short time after that, my neighbor 3 houses up, his name was Evans C. Evans. He was from the State Street Church. So he'd come down to the house and invite us up to his backyard. He gave me the time of the day. He was going to talk about the new church being built. And he went to several different places and had to talk to people. So when the time come to meet, we met.
You know, back when Christ Church was formed, it was the fast-growing early years of the 60s in Bowling Green, and 2 new subdivisions popped up real close on this part of town. We had Shawnee Estates and Crestmore, and a lot of the early families came from those 2 subdivisions. So not only as kids did we grow up here in the church, but we attended the same elementary school. Most of us went to McNeil, so we were together all the time, either at church or in school.
There was the Stricklands, which was the pastor, Sowells, of course, family, and the Fosters, and the Taylors, the Evanses, the Ledfords. Well, we kind of liked the good idea of having our church close to us, because I had to drive all the way across town to go to church. And of course, I've been a Methodist all my life. And so I was happy when the church was built. I think right in the beginning, the meetings that we had, there was several people who come from the other Methodist churches to help us get started. But it didn't take too long for it to have good crowds.
Yeah, ice cream fundraiser was a big event for this church in the early years. I can remember our parents selling tickets to that, and we would have big tents out front to accommodate the crowds that came, because it was heavily attended by, and we were fortunate. We had a lot of support from the other churches in the early days. They either provided us space sometimes to meet in, or they certainly came and helped us with our fundraiser. But there were 2 major tasks. The men churned the ice cream. There was no buying ice cream at Kroger's. They made the ice cream, and our moms did all the baking, the cakes and pies, and it was a big event, and obviously it was successful because they did it for a long time.
Back when we went to Ted Hunt's furniture store, well, when we would sing some songs, I guess I had a big mouth, and I must have been loud, so our preacher, he calls me up front. I don't read music. I can't read any music, but we sung a lot of the old Methodist songs that I remember.
I can remember he did a lot of singing in the church, a lot of duets. Music was a big thing at this church.
Favorite Methodist hymns?
How Great Thou Art.
I was in the choir, so we had a really active choir. I remember that more than anything. I can remember Dad and Mom going and buying donuts to take to the meetings that we had at Hunt's Furniture Store, and Mr. Hunt was so accommodating. He would let us sit on all of his brand new furniture. You know, they didn't move anything. We just sat on the furniture. You know, when we would go to school, kids would talk to us about being the bowling alley church. You know, most people just could not understand how you could possibly have a church service in a bowling alley. But every Sunday morning they would roll the organ out on one of the lanes, and they had a lectern that our minister spoke from, and our Our moms kept the nursery, I believe, in the women's locker room. Or it could have been the men's locker room, because I think the men's locker room was bigger than the women's locker room. But the bowling alley clearly wasn't open when we were having church, so we had to run to the whole center.
Bill Strickland was a good pastor. He was a great preacher. Well, it was in the front area, in front of the lanes.
We always set up, when we go in the front door, we always set up to the left. There was a storage room down there where they had some folding chairs that they kept, and then the organ stayed in that closet. And they would bring that out on Sunday mornings, and we would sit either in the areas right on the lanes, or they would set up chairs. There were chairs that were behind the bowling, where you would sit if you were actually bowling. And that's where we had church service.
It wasn't set up like a church, it was just using the space.
I just remember the sanctuary being so big. It seemed large compared to what we had attended down at Kerr Memorial. And it was new and it was modern. It was just a beautiful facility. And there was nothing around us. I mean, we were out here on all this land, and you didn't have the houses and the apartments that you see now. We were like out in the middle of the sticks at the end of Small House Road. Cave Mill Road in those days was way out of town.
Well, I hope they continue like they are. They're really doing some good work now. And I believe they will. They're doing a good job. A lot of people should really appreciate being there.
I would just say how proud I am of my mom and dad for starting this church. It meant a lot to us growing up to have parents that were so involved in church. And we made lifetime friends in this facility. And I love seeing it grow. I'm very proud of the church.